better.
Or better, yeah. Is this angle okay? Is that better? Slightly better, maybe? Get rid of some glare, hopefully. Yeah, and then, yeah, we have a FAQ page, lots of different things here. So you can, if you want to, because you're definitely not guinea pigs, you can go here and find out all kinds of answers to questions that you may have about this. So today, we're on episode 2, Claiming Our Roots and Dreaming Our Future. And the episodes are also listed here. And each episode has a downloadable learning guide. And the sheet that you have is just a piece of that, not the whole thing. What I'll do is I'll put that up here on the screen. This is the downloadable learning guide. So groups, students, other places can use this anyone can lead these lessons, and this will help them. So episode 2, I think I'll read a little bit of this, not all of it, because this works really good with when there's a lot more back and forth. But let me read some of this for you. So this video, episode number 2, involves embracing a dance between making sure that we are certainly honoring those who have gone before us. One thing we were very careful about in this series was to make sure that as we ask questions and look at new ideas, we want to recognize that we're standing on the shoulders of giants, those who have gone before us, who have sacrificed so much for the spread of the gospel, and raising new questions about whether or not the old paradigm of sending missionaries, so I can pull it up a bit, should now also be complemented with a new paradigm of supporting indigenous missionaries. In fact, some would even argue that the old paradigm should be replaced with the new. Janelle and I were part of that old paradigm. We went. That's the conversation we're trying to spark in the Western Church today. How do you appropriately honor your past while embracing a future that may look different from what's gone before? While indeed challenging, this shouldn't be mind-bending because we already know it to be intuitively true in other areas of life. When looking at Emmanuel, the Liberian pastor that you're going to meet in this video, we referred to his vision as Pentecost dreaming. Seeing the world not merely as it is, but rather through the imagination of the Holy Spirit to see what it could be when led by him. It's this notion of a Pentecost dream, seeing the world as it could be if guided by God's vision, that has driven missionaries since Christ's ascension. It swept the disciples beyond Jerusalem, opening up the arms of the church to new international spaces. And after them, generation after generation of Jesus' followers have felt the winds of the Holy Spirit propelling them in missionary efforts around the globe. We know the names and stories of only a few of those great figures. Some of them we highlight in this series, and we tried to represent them in the missionary trading cards, which you'll see during this episode. But the vast majority, just like the Swedish missionary referenced in this episode, labored on in quiet, unknown faithfulness and often harsh conditions. So it is right for us to mention their stories and offer our prayers of appreciation. But it's also time to ask fresh questions about whether or not these ancient models of sending are still preferable in every situation compared to also supporting indigenous Christian leaders. I have kids. This is Aaron writing. I have kids, but as much as my love for them never changes, my parenting strategy with them when they were toddlers is not the same parenting strategy I employ today when they're in college. Strategies can change without sacrificing what we value, how much we love, or even the intended outcome. So, when we challenge current paradigms or ways we've thought about missions, it doesn't necessarily mean that what was done before was entirely wrong or entirely right. It simply means that we need to adapt our methodology over time and space. That doesn't have to mean wholesale critique of previous ways of operating, but it might mean that they need to change. So those are some things that we're exploring today. And you can go online and read this. when you're watching the scene in this episode of the missionary trading cards, which you'll see in just a few minutes, it's actually taking place in this village. One of my students was flying the drone, and we're actually filming that scene right there. The scene that you're going to see of the missionary trading cards. And then we'll spend a few minutes on some of these questions. So I'm going to try and play it from the website. I think our Wi-Fi is fine here. Let's see how this goes. Most episodes are roughly 12 minutes.
All right, let's play a game for a minute. I want you to imagine in your mind's eye what the average Christian today looks like. Now, statistically speaking, if I were to line up all the Christians in the entire world in a line and ask you to draw somebody out at random, chances are you'd be standing face to face with a black woman. Is that what you imagine? Is that what you imagine when I ask you to picture the average Christian today? Like so many other kids who grew up in Canada, I collected hockey cards. I treasured these things, especially the stories on the back. Read about who they played for, how many goals they had last year, their assists. We'd go in the driveway and play hockey, pretending that we were Gilles Perreault, Frantisek Musil, Randy Burridge, Todd Krieger, Alan Peterson, Pat Verbeek, these great people that we watched. They were our heroes, nearly our idols. I recently heard a great story from a good friend of mine named John DeGroat. He was officiating a wedding for two missionaries who were about to head off and dedicate the rest of their lives, risking a whole lot of personal safety to bring the